Hi everyone, welcome to my English Fun Learning class. My name is Erlin and today I will be your teacher for this short lesson. And today our theme for this lesson is Unlock the Magic of Stories. And can you guess it? Yes, it's about narrative text. I think there are some of you familiar with that. But before we start it, I want to ask you about, do you like stories like fairy tales, fables or maybe another? If so, please tell me what kind of story that you like and comment section below because I'd love to know what kind of stories you enjoy. Now please take a look of your screen. There are three picture examples of fables. The first one is the lion and the mouse, and the second one is the turtle and the rabbit, and the last one is the ant and the grasshopper. And well, maybe some of you also familiar with that. All of those are example of narrative text. The first one is about definition. So narrative text is a kind of text that tells a story. It can be real, based on the true event, imaginary, or even a mix of both. And it has main purpose like to entertain and sometimes also to teach a moral lessons to readers because story has some values, emotion, and culture from around the world. And the next one is about characteristics. Narrative text has four characteristics. The first one, using past tense. Narrative texts are typically written in the past tense because they talk about events that already happened. And this is to give the story a clear sense and sense of time and progressions. In the example, you can spot the past tense verb like lived, was walking, stumbled, amazed, and inch. And these past tense help to place the story in the past and give it a traditional storytelling tone. The next one is using adverbials of times. Adverbials of time is expression that show when something happened. And they're used a lot in narrative text to help the reader to understand the sequence of events. In the example using time markers like early one morning and later that day to help the reader understand the timeline of the story. And the next one is adjective, using descriptive adjective. Narrative text using adjective to help to describe the nouns because the adjective can help them to add the detail, emotion, and flavor to the story. And adjective also helps to answer questions like what kind, how many, and which one. For example, in this sentence, the adjective brave, dark, and mysterious is create a vivid image and set the mood. The next one is using noun phrase. Noun phrase is a group of words that act like a noun and give more detail about a person, place, or thing. And in narrative text, this makes description richer and more engaging for reader. In the example, the bright morning sun and the calm water of the lake are both noun phrases that enhance the visual imagery of the scene. Let's move to next topic is about structure. Narrative text has a clear structure. There are orientation, complication, resolution, and reorientation or evaluation. In the orientation, we meet the characters and find out where and when the story takes place, or we can call it as introduction part. And then the complication part is a part that a problem or conflict appears. And the next one is the resolution. It shows how the problem is solved. Meanwhile, the next one is reorientation or evaluation. This part gives moral lessons or reflection or values that we can learn from the story. There are many types of narrative text. The first one is fictional narrative, second one autobiography, next one is biography, and then the last one is legend. For the fictional narrative is a imaginary story that often created purely for entertainment. For example, like fairy tales, fables, fantasy, or adventure story. Meanwhile, the autobiography is a narrative written by a person about their own life from a first-person perspective. Meanwhile, the biography is a narrative about someone else's life that's written by another person. The last one is legend. Legend is a traditional story passed down through generation. It often contains elements of truth, mixed with imagination and explain culture, origin, or heroic deeds. Now let's analyze the example below together. The title is The Rabbit and the Turtle, and the first paragraph is orientation because it introduced the rabbit and the turtle. The second paragraph and the third paragraph is complication because it starts when the turtle challenged rabbit. The next one is resolution. It happens when the turtle wins. And the moral value is slow and steady wins the race. That's all for the material, and now it's time for a mini quiz to test your understanding. There are 3 short questions about today's lesson, and please think carefully and say your answer before I show you the correct answer. Okay, the first question is, which part of story tells about the problem or conflict? Please thinking for a few seconds. So now, let's see the answer. Yep, the correct answer is complication, because in this part, the problem appears and the story becomes more interesting. Alright, next to the second question. What is the main purpose of a narrative text? Choose the best answer in your mind before I show you the correct answer. Exactly! Narrative text is made to entertain readers through stories, because sometimes they have a moral value at the end. And this is the last question. You often see this phrase in some stories, like once upon a time. Which part is that from? Please think carefully for a few seconds. Yep, you got it. It's on the orientation part, because it explains or show where the story begins, and this part also we can meet the characters for the first time. And yeah, that's a mini quiz. But before we finish, I have one more challenge. It is our final game. Yeah. Enough for today's lesson about narrative text. Thank you for watching and learning with me today. See you next time in another English fun learning. Bye bye.